in an organization, does a division or a department let the data science team know, hey, we're having a problem with this, can you guys come up or help us find a better way of doing it with a solution? Or is it more just kind of insight driven and the data translator is going to various departments saying, hey, you know, we've run some numbers and we think you could be optimizing here. So where does the process start? Is it like, I'm just curious.
The process is iterative.
Okay.
It can start anywhere. Because analytics or data science is not a science.
Right.
It's an art.
It's an art, yes, yes.
It's an art,
yes.
Right? So there is not a process to follow. It's more about progressively getting iterations of the model, progressively showing this model to business people and getting their feedback and making it better and better over time. But there is not a process to follow that says, hey, this is how you do it, this is done, perfect. It's impossible. It is impossible to know before you start the model. It is impossible to know what is the right kind of model for this kind of problem. What are the right parameters for the model? What are the kind of variables that I have to use in the model? It's very experimental. That's why it's an art. So you will have to make probably dozens or hundreds of different varieties of the model before you get the one that is really working well.
Right. Let's say somebody who is, you know, very keen on data science and has the skill sets, etc., and they want to propose to their company or their CEO or their boss or whoever it is that, hey, we need to start taking data science far more seriously. We need to set up a structure or set up a department or set up a team that looks at this, etc. How would they justify it to their boss? As in, what KPIs or what metrics of success would they use to justify their existence?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm wondering how performance is measured for these teams.
I mean, for me, the metric of success of analytics is economic impact.
Okay, very clear.
Right? In a company's economic impact, right? So it's very simple. However, I think sometimes it is a misunderstanding or it's an overstatement to say that analytics can drive short-term economic impact.
Right.
Because it requires investing in systems, it requires investing in people, it requires a lot of work. Right? For example, in the 90s or in the 2000s, probably you were able to get quick wins with an Excel model, right? This is not what we are talking about in analytics, right? It's much more advanced, and it requires much more infrastructure, right? So it is more complicated. So yes, you will get economic impact, you will get differentiation for your business, but it's not going to be overnight. And the metric has to be, I would say two. I would say yes, economic impact. That's the objective, right? Economic impact. But sometimes you don't know if the economic impact is going to come. That's why I use another metric, which is adoption, right? And adoption is how much your models are being used. So the impact is not yet there, but are people following there? Are people using them? This is very important.
Okay. So starting data science in an organization is definitely a longer term investment and something to gain a strategic advantage from in the future, right? As opposed to quick wins and let's get some immediate ROI, not that kind of thinking.
It is not a quick win, and there are some parts of artificial intelligence like robotic process automation that are quicker in ROI than others, but in general, it is a long-term game.
Got it. So let's say there's a CEO out there who's listening to this and says, okay, great, I need to start data science. What does he do? Does he go and find somebody who has experience in data science? Does he start working with a firm that specializes in data science and uses them as consultants?
My experience is with big companies, right?
Right.
Rather than small companies, right? What I would recommend big companies to do is to create their own teams, rather than using external teams. At the end of the day, it's your brain. It's the brain of the organization, right? So you better build it yourself and use it yourself, right?
But smaller, the vast majority of companies are smaller companies, right?
In the short run, you might use consultants, but you are not going to create a differentiating advantage, right? You have to do it yourself. If it is your core business, you have to do it yourself. And I do believe that analytics is the core business of every company, right?
Okay.
Now, when we go to smaller companies, it's difficult to say, right? Smaller companies in general are more technically oriented, right?
Okay.
So smaller companies probably you have some people that are managing databases, that are getting data. Maybe they don't know the whole implications of data,
Right.
but probably in small companies you can grow the team from inside, and then you can hire a more senior head of analytics or a more senior head of data science that is able to grow the team into something bigger, right? I think that's something that could work in smaller companies.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for that, Pedro. Thank you. Let's kind of finish things up with how AI is used, right? Because every technology can be used for good or can be used for bad, and I'm sure AI is one of those that can lend itself to many uses. How does one balance ethics with AI?